The morning of September 19, 1944, was shrouded in fog around Haraucourt in eastern France. A thick mist lays over the plains of Lorraine as the Panthers-equipped tank units of the 113th Brigade advanced towards their designated objectives. As detailed in a report submitted to the 5th Panzer Army headquarters after the battle at approximately 06:20, the advanced detachments encountered enemy tank destroyers of unknown affiliation. These combat vehicles displayed astonishing maneuverability, rapidly closing in on the German tanks from distances of 400 to 800 meters, then instantly changing their positions. This sudden assault resulted in the loss of 3 Panthers within 5 minutes. Through the veil of fog, German tank crews heard an unfamiliar sound, resembling a high-frequency aircraft engine whine. Squat silhouettes emerged from the mist, fired with lightning speed, and vanished before German gunners could aim for a retaliatory shot. Each engagement lasted no more than 20 seconds. That morning on the battlefield, 39 German tanks of the 113th Panzer Brigade, commanded by Colonel Erich von Sensdorf, faced a harsh reality. American engineers had created a tank destroyer capable of speeds up to 55 km/h, surpassing any existing tracked armored vehicle. While German military doctrine dictated that tank destroyers should be slow, heavily armored fortresses, similar to Jagdpanthers, the M18 Hellcat was designed on an entirely different concept: speed as protection, mobility as a survival factor, and maneuverability as a deadly weapon. The mathematical calculations for tank battles required a radical overhaul. The turret of a German Panther tank took between 18 and 60 seconds for a full rotation, depending on engine power. In contrast, the hydraulic turret system of the American Hellcat allowed a complete 360-degree rotation in just 24 seconds, regardless of engine RPM. At 55 MPH to 88, 5 km/h, an M18 could cover 400 meters before a Tiger tank's turret could even turn 90 degrees. The turning point came in December 1941, when Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Davis Bruce presented his ideas at a secret War Department briefing. The stunning success of the German Blitzkrieg had dealt a crushing blow to established military doctrines. Poland fell in just 35 days. France, with the largest army in the world, capitulated in 6 weeks. Wehrmacht panzer divisions clearly demonstrated that mobility and concentration of force could overcome any static defense. Bruce, a cavalry officer who deeply understood the value of speed and maneuver, proposed a revolutionary concept. Instead of directly confronting German tanks, America should create a machine designed to hunt tanks, much like cavalry pursued infantry, using speed, surprise, and unparalleled maneuverability. During World War II, as tank battles reached unprecedented scales, there arose an urgent need for specialized vehicles capable of effectively countering the enemy's armored behemoths. Thus, the concept of tank destroyers was born, whose tactics boiled down to a simple yet effective principle: detect, attack, destroy. In December 1941, the U.S. Ordnance Department formulated the requirements for a prospective high-speed tank destroyer, marking the starting point for intensive developments in this field. Throughout 1942, the technical requirements for the new vehicle underwent significant changes. Initially, it was planned to equip it with a 37mm gun. Then the caliber was increased to 57mm, then to 75mm, and finally to 76mm. The Christie suspension system was considered as an option, but ultimately torsion bars were preferred. By April 1943, The T-70 prototype, developed by Buick, demonstrated impressive speed characteristics that seemed incredible for a tracked vehicle. When news of the American tank destroyer's development reached German intelligence, it was met with disdain and skepticism, dismissed as typical American naivete. Wehrmacht doctrine, based on 4 years of combat experience, asserted that effective tank destroyers required heavy armor and powerful armament, like the German Jagdpanthers with their 88mm guns, weighing 46 tons. The very idea that Americans could create a 17.7-ton vehicle with armor only 25mm thick seemed militarily ridiculous and absurd. On May 23, 1944, amidst the Anzio breakout, the Hermann Göring Panzer Division first encountered American M18 tank destroyers, which came as an unpleasant surprise to the German tank crews. The division's daily combat report, addressed to the 14th War Panzer Corps, reported the appearance of a new type of enemy combat vehicle. Its incredible speed, estimated at 70 to 80 km/h, Pilot 43 to 50 mph, was highlighted. The report also mentioned the destruction of 2 Panzers IVs before the elusive enemy could escape, and noted the ineffectiveness of return fire due to the target's high mobility. German crews were puzzled. They had encountered machines whose characteristics did not match any entries in their recognition manuals. The low silhouette and speed, more typical of wheeled reconnaissance vehicles, combined with a powerful 76mm gun, caused bewilderment. These reports reached Berlin, but were met with skepticism and dismissed as probably exaggerated. The German High Command likely believed that under combat stress, experienced crews tended to overestimate enemy capabilities. However, in September 1944, a bitter realization dawned. The US Third Army's advance through Lorraine pushed German defenses to their breaking point. Hitler personally ordered a counter-offensive to retake Nancy and disrupt General Patton's forces. The 5th Panzer Army, commanded by General Hasso von Manteuffel, assembled the best available forces, including the newly formed 111th and 113th Panzer Brigades, equipped with the latest Panthers. At the same time, the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion, attached to Combat Command A of the 4th Armored Division, took up positions around Aracourt, preparing to meet the enemy with its M18s. As dawn broke on September 19th with a dense blanket of fog enveloping the area, German forces launched their offensive. However, their advance was met with fierce resistance from an M18 platoon commanded by Lieutenant Edwin Leper, whose actions were marked by exceptional precision and effectiveness. According to reports from the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion, after the battle, it became clear that Lieutenant Leper's platoon had engaged enemy armored vehicles at distances ranging from 365 to 730 meters. Employing tactics of lightning-fast attacks and rapid withdrawals, the American tank crews managed to destroy a significant amount of enemy equipment, approximately 15 tanks, in just half an hour of intense fighting. An M18 commanded by Sergeant Henry R. Hartmann particularly distinguished itself. Positioned on the platoon's flank, it demonstrated incredible skill and composure. His gunner, acting with astonishing speed and accuracy, knocked out 6 Panthers, one after another, each time quickly changing firing positions, giving the German tank crews no opportunity to return fire. For his heroism and outstanding combat service, Hartmann was later awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. The damage inflicted on the Wehrmacht's 113th Panzer Brigade was devastating. German divisional reports noted the brigade encountered enemy tank destroyers in the Aracourt area, enemy vehicles demonstrated unprecedented mobility, reaching speeds estimated at over 80 kilometers per hour. The outcome of the battle: 39 tanks destroyed, 11 damaged. Enemy losses amounted to 3 to 4 vehicles. In November 1944, when German forces secured an intact M18 near Metz, Wehrmacht armaments specialists conducted a detailed analysis of the vehicle. Their report, addressed to the Inspector General of Panzer Troops, presented characteristics that completely changed the understanding of tank destroyer design. According to confirmed data, the M18 weighed only 17.7 metric tons, a sharp contrast to the Panther's 44.8 tons. Its maximum speed reached 88.5 km/h, making it 55 MPH, were confirmed on the test range, while the Panther could achieve a maximum of 46 km/h on 28.6 MPH. The vehicle was equipped with a Wright R975C4 radial engine, delivering 400 horsepower DONUS in later models. The power-to-weight ratio was 22.6 HP per ton, significantly surpassing that of the Panther, to 15.6 HP ton, and the Tiger I-12.8 HP ton. The M18's turret completed a full 360-degree rotation in just 24 seconds, thanks to its hydraulic drive. The vehicle's armor was minimal: 25 mm on the frontal turret and 13 mm on the hull sides. The main armament was a 76-meter M1A1 or M1A2 gun. The torquematic transmission was automatic and provided 3 forward speeds. The German report assessed the American M18 Hellcat self-propelled artillery piece, emphasizing that the machine's unique characteristics stemmed from a radical design approach. Developers deliberately sacrificed armor protection to achieve outstanding mobility. An air-cooled radial aircraft engine was used as the power plant. The application of an automatic transmission eliminated the need for a clutch, greatly simplifying operation and allowing the driver to fully concentrate on maneuvering. The report concluded that the M18's combat effectiveness directly depended on its high mobility and the crew's level of training. Calculations showed the M18's undeniable advantage in maneuverability and speed on the battlefield. The turret traverse speed of German tanks, directly dependent on engine RPM, showed significant fluctuations. For instance, on the Tiger I tank, this figure varied from 6 to 19 degrees per second, corresponding to a full turret rotation in 60 to 19 seconds. Early Panther models had a turret traverse speed of only 6 degrees per second, meaning a full rotation took a full minute. Later, Panther modifications could achieve a turret traverse speed of up to 19 degrees per second at 2000 engine RPM, reducing the full rotation time to 19 seconds. The heavy Tiger II tank's turret traverse speed ranged from 15 to 24 degrees per second, providing a full rotation in 24 to 15 seconds. In contrast to German tanks, the M18's hydraulic drive provided a constant turret traverse speed of 15 degrees per second, regardless of engine RPM. This was critically important when needing to quickly switch between multiple targets or track a maneuvering enemy. Thanks to its maximum speed of 55 m/s, 88.5 km/h, the M18 could cover 400 meters in just 16 seconds, 800 meters in 33 seconds, and cross a 1,000-meter battlefield in 41 seconds. For comparison, a Panther tank required 30 to 60 seconds just to rotate its turret 180 degrees while tracking a moving target, making it vulnerable in dynamic combat. The M18's revolutionary impact on American anti-tank strategy cannot be overstated. The updated combat manual of the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion, revised after the battles at Aracourt, emphasized the need to use the M18 for mobility rather than for direct fire confrontation. The manual prescribed the following tactics: fire 3 to 5 shots from a concealed position, then immediately change position, moving at least 180 meters, and engage from a new point at a different angle. It stressed that one shouldn't remain in the same spot for longer than a minute if the enemy was observing. This shoot and scoot tactic proved incredibly effective. German tank crews, accustomed to methodical and precise long-range engagements, were unprepared for an enemy that avoided direct confrontations. On December 19, 1944, during the height of the German Ardennes offensive, Hitler's last desperate gamble, the 2nd Panzer Division, aiming for Antwerp, approached a crucial crossroads in Neuville. This intersection was held by De Sobry force alongside elements of the 101st Airborne Division. 4 M18s from the 609th and 705th Tank Destroyer battalions confronted superior enemy forces. The morning fog, which initially aided the Germans in their stealthy advance, now became an ally of the Hellcats, providing them additional cover and opportunities for surprise attacks. A notable episode was recorded in the 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion's combat report. In dense fog, 4 M18 Hellcat self-propelled guns engaged the advance elements of the enemy's 2nd Panzer Division. Thanks to their lightning-fast movements between firing positions, the American tank destroyers created the illusion of a much larger force. This audacious maneuver resulted in the destruction of 24 German tanks, with the M18's own losses amounting to just 1 vehicle knocked out by artillery fire. The Hellcats' tactics were simple and effective. After firing 2 or 3 rounds, they would instantly retreat at maximum speed, disappearing into the fog. By the time German tank crews managed to aim their guns in the direction of the muzzle flashes, the M18s were already 200-300 yards from their previous position, opening fire from an entirely different direction. The war diary of the 2nd Panzer Division recorded strong resistance from tank destroyers in the Neuville area. Then it noted that highly mobile enemy vehicles are operating in foggy conditions, making effective fire difficult due to their constant movement. Ultimately, the German offensive was halted until reinforcements arrived. This delay, which lasted 4 to 8 hours, played a decisive role, allowing the 101st Airborne Division to strengthen Bastogne's defenses and hold the strategically vital crossroads. By November 1944, with the war's outcome already decided, German commanders desperately sought ways to neutralize the swift threat posed by the American M18 Hellcat tank destroyers. General Hasso von Manteuffel, commander of the 5th Panzer Army, issued a directive acknowledging the outstanding characteristics of this vehicle. The document noted that M18s could reach speeds over 80 km/h, 50 mph on roads and more than 40 km/h in 25 mph cross-country, necessitating a revision of standard tactical procedures. Von Manteuffel advised his tank crews to abandon attempts to track the agile M18 with their turrets and instead pre-aim their guns at its probable routes of movement. He also recommended using infantry armed with Panzerfausts to cover flanks and artillery fire to suppress suspected enemy positions. He specifically emphasized the need to avoid pursuing the M18, as the American vehicle always held a speed advantage. However, despite these adaptations, German forces never managed to effectively counter the M18. The Hellcat speed was simply too great, and German crews, accustomed to methodical and precise shooting, could not quickly adapt and react to the enemy's rapid attacks. In total, from July 1943 to October 1944, the Buick Motor Division produced 2,507 M18 tank destroyers, with peak production occurring in November 1943 when 267 vehicles rolled off the assembly line. The initial contract called for 8,986 units, but this number was reduced as the war neared its end and military doctrine was re-evaluated. The cost of a single M18 in 1943 was 55,230, which was relatively expensive due to the use of a specialized engine and transmission. Nevertheless, thanks to American automotive industry methods, Hellcats were mass-produced. For comparison, a German Panther cost approximately 117,100 Reichsmarks and required significantly more production time due to its complex design. The M18 was initially designed with large-scale production in mind, driven by several factors. The choice of the Wright R975 radial engine was not accidental, as it was already successfully used in aviation and other types of equipment, significantly simplifying logistics and maintenance. The use of the Torquematic transmission eliminated the need for lengthy and complex driver training, which also accelerated the process of bringing new vehicles into service. The open-top turret, in turn, simplified the manufacturing process, reducing labor costs and assembly time. Furthermore, M18 designers aimed to maximize the use of standard automotive components, which also contributed to simplified production and reduced costs. At the Tank Destroyer Training Center in Camp Hood, Texas, special training programs for M18 crews were developed, differing significantly from standard tank courses. The primary focus was on developing the skills necessary to effectively utilize the vehicle's high speed and maneuverability. Drivers were trained in high-speed maneuvering, rapid acceleration and braking, and the skillful use of terrain for concealment and surprise attacks. Particular attention was paid to maintaining maximum speed while ensuring a stable firing platform during short stops. Gunners, in turn, were trained to quickly acquire targets and fire on the move. Unlike German gunners who were trained for methodical and precise long-range shooting, M18 gunners learned to open fire quickly at medium ranges, consciously accepting a lower probability of a first shot hit in exchange for the ability to rapidly engage and suppress the enemy with fire. The training of Hellcat commanders focused on developing a deep understanding of combat dynamics, rapid decision-making, and seamless coordination with other M18 vehicles. Training included the ability to anticipate situational developments several steps ahead, with mandatory planning of the subsequent firing positions even before engaging in combat. The psychological profile of M18 crews differed significantly from those serving on heavy tanks. Personnel selectors sought individuals who were risk-takers, capable of instantaneous reactions, and who valued maneuverability above the sense of security provided by massive armor. The M18's most vulnerable point was its weak armor. With a maximum thickness of 25 mm on the frontal turret and only 13 mm on the whole sides, the vehicle was defenseless against virtually any type of German anti-tank weaponry. This list included 20 mm anti-aircraft guns at close range, 37 mm anti-tank guns at any distance, handheld anti-tank rocket launchers, artillery shell fragments, and even heavy machine gun fire at close range against its side profile. This design feature critically influenced the M18's tactical deployment. The standard operating procedures included the following key principles: avoid remaining in one position under enemy observation. Steer clear of urban combat, where the advantage of speed becomes irrelevant. Maintain a minimum distance of 500 meters from enemy infantry. Continuously utilize natural cover and camouflage. Work closely with infantry units to neutralize enemy anti-tank weapons. M18 Hellcat crews demonstrated an astonishing sense of situational awareness, tirelessly identifying dangers and developing escape routes. By the end of World War II, M18-equipped tank destroyer battalions had provided impressive confirmed data on destroyed enemy armored vehicles. The 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion reported 106 enemy tanks destroyed. The 603rd Battalion reported 92. The 69th Battalion 67. The 705th Battalion 89. And the 85th Battalion 51 destroyed tanks. Overall data indicates that 540 M18 vehicles participated in combat, with peak strength recorded in March 1945. Combat losses totaled 216 vehicles. The ratio of enemy tanks destroyed to M18s lost was 2.3 to 1 in the European theatre of operations. The average engagement distance was 650 meters, and the average engagement duration was 2.3 minutes. Despite a respectable kill-to-loss ratio of 2.3 to 1, it fell short of pre-war predictions. It's important to note that about 70% of the M18's combat time was spent supporting infantry rather than engaging enemy tanks. Thus, the primary assumption of the tank destroyer doctrine concerning large-scale enemy tank attacks proved largely mistaken. The Italian campaign revealed new aspects of the M18 Hellcat's application. The 85th Tank Destroyer Battalion, equipped with these vehicles, discovered that even in confined mountainous terrain, their high mobility offered significant advantages. Hellcats could rapidly redeploy between threatened frontline sectors, utilizing mountain roads inaccessible to heavier equipment. During battles on the Gothic Line, M18s quickly seized dominant heights, engaged German tanks in the valleys, and swiftly changed positions before the enemy could return fire. German forces in Italy, accustomed to the slow Allied advance through difficult terrain, were unpleasantly surprised by the M18's speed of response. One German Corps report noted that enemy tank destroyers demonstrated the ability to concentrate rapidly at threatened points, and their speed of redeployment made effective counter-battery fire difficult. The 607th Tank Destroyer Battalion was redeployed to the Pacific Theater, where M18 Hellcats participated in the Philippine campaign. With virtually no Japanese armor present, the vehicles were primarily used for destroying fortifications and supporting infantry. The M18's open turret proved extremely vulnerable to Japanese infantry tactics. Crews installed makeshift roofs and wire mesh for protection against grenades and booby traps. The vehicle's high speed allowed for rapid responses to Japanese infiltration attempts behind lines. But the dense jungles often negated the mobility advantages. The M18's design incorporated innovative solutions that significantly enhanced its combat characteristics. The Torqmatic transmission, developed by General Motors engineers, was an automatic gearbox that freed the crew from manual clutch operation. 3 forward gears shifted automatically, adapting to the current speed and load on the vehicle. This innovation allowed the driver to fully concentrate on maneuvering, which was especially crucial when moving at high speeds. The torsion bar suspension provided an impressive wheel travel of 35.5 cm to 14 inches. This design allowed the M18 to maintain high speed even on rough terrain. The generous suspension travel effectively absorbed shocks and vibrations that would have damaged vehicles with traditional leaf spring suspensions. The Wright R978 radial engine, a 9-cylinder air-cooled aircraft engine, delivered an excellent power-to-weight ratio. Early C1 models developed 350 horsepower, while later C4 modifications produced 400 horsepower. The air cooling system eliminated the need for vulnerable radiators and complex liquid cooling systems. The hydraulic turret drive, powered by an electric motor driving a hydraulic pump, ensured a constant turret traverse speed of 15 gram per second, regardless of engine speed or vehicle movement. This was a significant advantage compared to German manual turret traverse systems. The M18 Hellcat's combat experience profoundly influenced the post-war evolution of armored vehicles. Despite the abolition of the tank destroyer doctrine and the disbandment of associated units in November 1945, the M18's triumphant demonstration, proving the superiority of mobility over armor, resonated deeply with designers worldwide. Inspired by this concept, the Soviet Union developed the PT-76 light amphibious tank and later the BMP infantry fighting vehicle, both prioritizing mobility. Great Britain, in turn, created the CVRT series, emphasizing speed for reconnaissance operations. France opted for a lighter design, developing the AMX-13 with an automatic loading system. Germany, making a radical departure from its World War II philosophy, abandoned heavy armor in favor of increased mobility in the Leopard 1 tank. Modern wheeled tank destroyers, such as the Italian Centauro, the Japanese Type 16, and the American M1128 mobile gun system, are essentially conceptual descendants of the M18, consciously sacrificing protection for strategic and tactical maneuverability. A natural question arises: why were German forces, renowned for their tactical innovations, unable to effectively counter the M18? Several key factors contributed to this. Doctrinal rigidity. The German school of tank training emphasized methodical long-range shooting. Crews spent years honing precision firing skills, which, however, proved largely ineffective against rapidly moving targets. Technical limitations. The turret traverse systems of German tanks, directly dependent on engine RPM, could not compare with the M18's smooth and responsive hydraulic system. At idle or low engine on speeds, German tanks became virtually defenseless against the M18's swift flank attacks. Psychological shock. German tank crews were accustomed to a sense of impunity, dominating most Allied armored vehicles. The psychological impact of the sudden metamorphosis from predator to prey cannot be underestimated. Communication failures. German tactical radios, already struggling with Allied jamming, were unable to coordinate responses to the M18's maneuver groups operating in platoons. Veterans' recollections of the M18 Hellcat, recorded by the U.S. Army Military History Institute in the post-war years, unanimously highlight speed as the key factor in their combat survival. Staff Sergeant Vernon Miller of the 85th Tank Destroyer Battalion succinctly articulated the Hellcat crew's philosophy. Our survival was built on 3 pillars: lightning-fast shooting, rapid movement, and quick decision-making. Adhering to these rules guaranteed our return home. The slightest oversight in any point sealed our fate. Technical Sergeant John Patterson, who served in the 603rd Tank Destroyer Battalion, emphasized the tactical superiority that the M18 speed provided. The Hellcat wasn't made for fair fights. Its element was unfair play in our favor. We struck where the enemy didn't expect, when he didn't expect, and vanished before he could realize what had happened. Private First Class Robert Chen of the 704th Tank Destroyer Battalion vividly described his feelings. Every time I took my seat in an M18, I knew I was in a tin can, but it was a tin can capable of reaching 55 mph. That speed repeatedly saved my life, proving far more effective than any armor. However, the M18's combat performance presents a more multifaceted picture. history preserves the memory of the M18 Hellcat, an American self-propelled gun from World War II, whose tactical and technical characteristics and combat deployment left an indelible mark on military history. Regarding mobility, the vehicle demonstrated outstanding performance. Its maximum road speed reached 55.5 km, and off-road it could achieve 26.42 km. Acceleration to 30.48 km took just 11 seconds. Its operational range was 150 miles, 241 km, with fuel tanks holding 75 gallons, 284 liters. Furthermore, its ground pressure was only 0.4 drams per km, which was less than that of many trucks of the era. An analysis of its combat effectiveness shows that on average, each vehicle accounted for 2.4 destroyed enemy tanks. The average lifespan in combat was 67 days. Mechanical reliability was estimated at 200 miles and 320 km between major repairs. Importantly, crew survival upon vehicle destruction was 73%. These statistics reveal both the strengths and weaknesses of the self-propelled gun. The high percentage of crew survival was a direct consequence of the vehicle's high speed, allowing crews to evacuate a damaged M18. At the same time, the relatively short combat lifespan confirmed its vulnerability due to thin armor. The M18 Hellcat's influence extends beyond the characteristics of a specific combat vehicle, touching upon fundamental concepts of modern warfare. Time from detection to engagement, modern combat emphasizes rapid target engagement, which echoes the M18's shoot and scoot tactics. Active protection, modern active protection systems represent a technological attempt to replicate what the M18 achieved through speed. Avoiding hits instead of absorbing them. Network-centric warfare. M18 platoons coordinating rapid attacks from different directions foreshadowed modern networked combat operations. Asymmetric response. The M18 demonstrated that technological superiority doesn't always require direct matching of enemy capabilities, but rather their neutralization. The M18 Hellcat, a product of American engineering ingenuity and tactical foresight, became one of the most revolutionary combat vehicles of World War II. This self-propelled gun, born from the industrial might of the United States and an innovative approach to warfare, overturned established notions of tank battles. German tankers, accustomed to battlefield dominance through thick armor and powerful weaponry, encountered an American innovation that fundamentally changed the rules of the game. The Hellcat's impressive top speed, reaching 55 km/h, was more than just a dry figure in technical specifications. It symbolized a paradigm shift that German tactical doctrine proved unable to accept. The M18 vividly demonstrated that in war, as in the wild, survival isn't always about being the strongest or most heavily armed. Often, the advantage lies with those who are faster, more maneuverable, and better adapted to changing conditions. German tank crews, watching with frustration as their carefully aimed shots repeatedly missed the rapidly disappearing M18s, learned this bitter lesson through harsh experience in the fields of France, the snow-covered forests of the Ardennes, and the final battles on German soil itself. Today, when experts in military history turn their attention to the M18 Hellcat, they see not merely an example of successful anti-tank technology, but a vivid embodiment of the American military industry's innovative approach. It stands as a prime example of how, by identifying the enemy's key advantages, one can effectively neutralize them using unconventional solutions. German tank crews were astonished as the American Hellcat flashed past them at 55 ppm, leaving them utterly bewildered. This technological breakthrough, reinforced by tactical innovations and highly trained crews, formed a weapon system whose effectiveness significantly surpassed its nominal characteristics. Ultimately, the M18 Hellcat revolutionized armored warfare strategy. It convincingly demonstrated that protection does not always require massive armor, that destroying the enemy does not necessarily demand the most powerful gun, and that battlefield dominance can be achieved through high mobility, not sheer mass. Reaching 55 mph, it not only surpassed German tanks in speed, but also challenged German military doctrine itself. The ideas embedded in the M18 continue to influence modern military thought. Every time military strategists opt for maneuverability over protection, when commanders prioritize rapid decision-making over meticulous preparation, when weapons designers sacrifice protection for enhanced performance, the lesson taught by the Hellcat echoes across the decades. In the crucible of war, harsh truths are forged, and sometimes the best defense is the ability to evade the enemy's deadly fire. Battle-hardened German tankers from units like the 113th Panzer Brigade and the 2nd Panzer Division learned this axiom the hard way. They faced an invisible enemy that shattered their plans, turned their advantages into vulnerabilities, struck with lightning speed, and vanished like phantoms in the thick fog of war. They realized that the American innovation was not about creating superior tanks, but about developing a fundamentally new weapon. A weapon whose speed was so great that it nullified their tactical maneuvers, training, and the firepower of their tank turrets. The American M18 Hellcat self-propelled gun, an embodiment of audacious engineering and a speed of 55 mph, became living proof that speed can be the decisive factor in warfare. German tankers had no idea what this American cat was capable of, and when they finally realized, it was too late. Victory was achieved not only on the battlefield, but also in the realm of engineering, where American designers boldly sacrificed armor for speed, creating a formidable predator that became a tank hunter itself,